Schlockmeister fans, we're going to watch an obscure film here. 1971, it's called The Telephone Book. Ever heard of it? Let's check it out. Our movie starts with Alice, the actress Sarah Kennedy. She's, I guess, exercising. And here's a guy on a New York City street about to make an obscene phone call to Alice.
Hello there. I'd like to talk to you very seriously for a moment about your beautiful tits.
About 10 years.
This is a guy who used to do obscene phone calls to nuns.
They're sympathetic people. Good listeners. Well, now, I don't feel the need to make obscene phone calls anymore. You see, I know that the world is going to come to an end in a year because of the violent emergence of Atlantis.
Oh, but it was a work of art.
She really dug the call. This is her friend Jill Clayburgh.
You had to hear it. This was no dime store amateur.
Ordinarily, I would love to hear everything this charming man had to say.
She waits and waits for him to call again, and he does, again and again.
Not you. You have class. I want to see you. Please.
Anyway, he said his name was John Smith.
Mr. John Smith that just called me?
And lives in Manhattan, so she decides to call every John Smith in the book.
Hello? Are you the Mr. John Smith that just called me? Hello? Are you Mr. Smith that makes those fake dirty calls?
She finds
I found what I was looking for.
a guy who claims that he is the caller John Smith. He's some sort of swinger who wants to get into stag films, so he's having an orgy with like 8 or 9 women. She's going to join. Turns out he was not the John Smith she was looking for.
I'd let you use anything.
So she calls Jill Clayburgh again.
And ordinarily, I'd give it to you.
I'll take the phone to the bathroom and use it there.
You know that the bathroom will be in demand.
I beg your pardon.
So she takes the subway home and meets the actor Roger Carmel. And you remember him as Harry Mudd on Star Trek. He's a perv. She's gonna flash him now.
Precisely. Does that image suggest?
She agrees to meet with him, though, and hang out with him.
State of Maryland.
What?
A baby pig.
What do you do in bed?
Sleep.
Well, what happens in bed when you're awake?
I get out of bed.
No, I do believe my subtleties are being lost on you. What was the most satisfying sexual experience you ever had?
Satisfying.
What was the best fuck in your life?
Yeah.
So she tells him.
I
Apparently it was
saw
with
her.
William Hickey.
Outside my window. She was standing there. And, I thought that she was just waiting for a bus or something, but then the bus passed by.
I was stoned and couldn't move.
I screamed out, "Hey there!"
Alice meets a woman in the park who happens to be a
Come up
lesbian.
to my place and use my phone. I just live a couple of blocks from here.
And the lesbian immediately takes out her dildos. Remember Miss Beadle from Little House on the
Every
Prairie?
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I go to a painting class at 10.
Lucy Lee
And
Flippin.
paint. Every afternoon, about 2 or 3, I come home and change into something comfortable, to lounge around in. And then I take a banana and I shove it up my cunt and kind of squish it around so that my hole gets all juiced up.
She eventually does meet her prank caller,
I'm just a lot of talk. That's all I do.
who wears a pig mask, mind you.
How many women do you call?
Four women a night. 5 nights a week. That's about 1,000 a year. I take 2 weeks off every year to go fishing. 30 regular flights.
Forgive me for asking such a dopey question, but do you have physical relations with women? Physical relations of any sort?
What the fuck do you mean by physical relations? I've had thousands of women. 6 years ago,
Despite that angry exchange,
I wasn't nervous.
he gives her a bath.
I was a fighter, a killer, a destroyer, a man who loved his country. I was a captain. Fought the Yellow Reds, killed them left and right. I got medals and promotions. Like a wild fish in a solution of jello that hadn't hardened yet. I always thought that I knew what happiness was. But there in that weightless chamber were a few brief moments. I knew real ecstasy.
He continues his
That
monologue.
very little shit, and I kicked it across the lawn, about 30 feet. Nearly killed him. I knew at once that my family life had begun to disintegrate. Mary screamed and clutched herself. I looked at my little boy, and I guess he felt that I wanted to kick him too. That animal energy.
Eventually he got caught.
After a while, I began to listen to myself and develop technique. Finally, I was able to keep one of my women on the phone for a full hour. Shortly after this achievement, I was traced and caught. Disgrace followed. When she heard the news, Mary nearly tore her tits off.
Then we have a bizarre cartoon sequence. Looks like something out of Ralph Bakshi. Which plays over while they continue with their phone conversations. And our first color sequences from the film. Alright, let's talk about Telephone Book. This is, like I said at the beginning, an obscure film. I actually had this on a VHS tape. It was pretty rare, but I somehow acquired it, eBay or something, in the early 2000s. It was a big old clamshell box, but it was a rare and sought-after item. So someone had told me about it, so I tracked it down and bought it. And I've had it ever since. I watched it at the time, and I remember thinking it's really weird then. Haven't seen it since until today. So anyway, we got it's some sort of like weird cult film or something. But anyway, we got a prank phone caller here who prank calls women. Several, I guess he calls them clients. He's not really like hired or anything, but he's not like paid for doing this. But he calls women. I guess he's so good at it that he can charm everybody, and they love him. And he picks on this woman here, Alice, who's played by Sarah Kennedy, who has one of these high-pitched, squeaky voices, very, very girly sounding, and she like falls in love with his voice, falls in love with him, so she tries to track him down. And he says, "My name is John Smith, and I live in Manhattan." Of course, there are millions of John Smiths in Manhattan, so she decides to call all of them out of the phone book, hence the title, the telephone book. First guy she reaches that says, "Yeah, I'm the guy." I couldn't show you much of it because it was a lot of nudity there. It was Barry Morse, the actor, and he's in bed. He apparently was in porno movies, and he's trying to get back into the business again, and he's filming a scene with this woman. I couldn't really show you. He was like humping her, although he was wearing underwear and she was completely nude. And then the next thing you know, like 8 or 9 women, all nude, join him on this big bed. So she comes in and just sees all this going on, and she's like, wow. But she sits down and starts talking to him, and he eventually convinces her to get naked and join in as well. She has to work on his leg because it's like the only appendage left. Eventually she does track down the real guy, and he's wearing a pig mask, and they have some conversations. He gets mad at her at one point. She wants something more physical, where he apparently doesn't like that, but he does give her a bath. And then, I don't know, there's this weird animated sequence at the end with a ton of nudity. Kind of looked like a Ralph Bakshi film, like Dirty Duck or something. And next thing you know, they're like talking to each other in the phone booth again. And I don't know, this is a weird, really weird film. This is what it says on the back of the box here. A major, though forgotten work from New York's underground film scene of the late 60s and early 70s, Nelson Lyons' The Telephone Book tells the story of Alice, a sex-obsessed hippie who falls in love with the world's greatest obscene phone caller and embarks on a quest to find him. Her journey introduces her to an avant-garde stank filmmaker, a manipulative psychiatrist, a lesbian housewife, and more, photographed in high-contrast black and white, and punctuated with a remarkable surreal color-animated sequence. The Telephone Book is one of the greatest cult films you've probably never heard of. There you go. Again, this is an oddball film, but it is interesting and well worth a look. I can see how it does have that kind of artsy feel to it. Again, this was just put out by in Blu-ray, I think, last year, like in the last 6-8 months or something. I can't see what company is doing this here, but it's an interesting film. So I would definitely recommend this just to check it out. It's weird. There's a lot of nudity in this movie, and I think this movie actually was rated X when it first came out. Vinegar Syndrome, by the way. I'm sorry, put this out. Vinegar Syndrome. So check it out. If you're watching this right now, when I'm just posting this, Vinegar Syndrome is having a big sale right now where almost everything is half price, and I think this one's included. So you might be able to get this for about $12-13 right now. So anyway, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Leave some comments down below. It's called The Telephone Book. Watch it. Bye.